Hey, Catherine. James, you're there too. Okay, guys, I'm not going to replay what we just played in the earlier class because you've seen it. But I have found the video, very short video with Tony Gwynn, who is a retired baseball player, and he's coaching an NBL team. So we're just going to watch like 60 seconds of this. And what he's going to refer to is the knob of the bat. Right, so you all know at the base of the bat there's a little knob. What he's talking about is you swing the knob, not the barrel of the bat, but the knob of the bat. So let's watch it.
To the plate or far back, two things that you got to do is number one, you got to have balance. You got to have balance, okay? When I say balance, is when you load, if your weight gets over your front leg, you're out. Okay? If your front hip opens up, you're out. Okay, so when you get in a balanced position, it's balanced in the sense that now I'm not going to let my body get ahead of me. I'm going to keep my body in the center. You look at any good hitter, when he loads, the weight stays right here. Okay, if you get out over that front leg, you make out. Okay, that's number one. The second one I think is going to surprise you, especially you guys who haven't heard this before. But the second one is once you get to that balanced position, you swing the knob, not the barrel. Okay, and I'm going to demonstrate why I say that, because a lot of you guys think that in order to be a good hitter, you got to control the barrel head. You got to throw the barrel head out there. And what happens when you do that is the bat starts out in the zone and then you cut it off. Okay, but if you swing the knob of the bat, the barrel will fall. Understand what I'm saying? You guys understand what I'm saying? Okay, if you swing the knob of the bat, the barrel is going to come in right behind you. And a lot of you guys think that you've got to throw the head. How many guys have heard that phrase by coaches, parents? Throw the head. Throw the head. If you throw the barrel, if you try to control the barrel, it's in the zone and out of the zone. If you throw the knob, the barrel stays in the zone. Okay? And I don't care who you are, I don't care who you talk about, those two things are constant. Those two things you have to do every time you get up to the plate. Because if you don't, you're going to make out. Okay, and that's it. Is that simple?
Okay, as Tony was saying, it's those two things. It's that simple, right? He doesn't have exactly the same language that we have because it's a different sport with a different history. But what he's talking about is exactly what I'm talking about J.J. Guanchuan. I'm going to get myself a real bat to demonstrate on here. And there's something really important. I'm pointing to my head for a reason. There's something really important about this principle and about the way that he expressed it. Your mind controls your movement, and very often the controlling mind interest is unconscious. And when it's unconscious, it's usually wrong. Not because it's unconscious, but just because it's not trained. It's not a good way to do it. So what he was saying was most baseball coaches, most hitting coaches, have used the metaphor of, use the barrel of the bat, right? You really got to swing the barrel of that bat. They don't pay any attention to the root of the movement. They're only focused on this. And what happens then is you break up the chi path. The chi path needs to go, let's just work from the shoulders, right? Shoulder, elbow, and then the wrist and the base of the bat, and then the barrel. If you mess that sequence up, you will not be as good a hitter as you could be. Often you're not a very good hitter at all, right? That's exactly what I'm talking about. So what he was saying, by focusing on the knob of the bat, is he doesn't have this language, but I do. Don't break up the sequence. Don't get ahead of yourself. Just go 1, 2, 3, 4, right? It's shoulder, elbow, wrist, and the knob of the bat and the barrel of the bat will follow through. That is exactly what I mean by Jie Guanchuan. If you are not doing that, it's not because you're an incompetent person. It's because you haven't thought about it. You haven't trained in it. He's taught in that little sequence we watched. He wasn't talking to beginner batters. He was talking to major league players. These guys are pros. So, even the pros can improve on what's going on. So when we do that second move in the form, which we're going to do in a moment here, all right? If your elbow, all right, if your elbow is up, it means you're out of sequence. You're leading with your elbow instead of leading with your shoulder and then following with your elbow and then your wrist. So it's just a little different way that breaks up the correct sequence, but it's exactly the same principle as that was Tony Gwynn. What Tony Gwynn was talking about. All right? Go, Catherine. Danchen. Move your danchen. Shoulder. Better. It's better. But it was better. It was still an improvement, right? Guys, it takes a long time to get this. In a certain sense, it's a very simple thing. In another way, it's about recovering your natural way of moving. And it seems like it's a natural way to move. It ought to be the simplest thing in the world. But it's been trained out of us. I'll show you why. All right? Took this out of my tool chest. This is how it gets trained out of you. All right? It all becomes about hand-eye coordination, and you just forget about the whole rest of the body. So it becomes very mechanical, but it's not taking advantage of your natural way of moving. If I'm using the hammer here, right, and I'm pounding some nails, it's about the head of the hammer hitting the head of the nail and boom, 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 boom. What I'm paying attention to is this. I'm not paying attention to this or this or this or the rest of it, right? So, my God, what a stupid way to move. But that's the way we're all trained. When you're working on a computer and you've got a keyboard, it's all about your eyes, your fingers, and the keyboard. The whole rest of your body you just forget about. That's actually remember Annie talking earlier about developing this problem with her abdomen. That was caused by a computer. Annie used to work 12 hours a day on that computer as a bookkeeper. And this went on for something like 12 or 14 years. All right? And you don't realize when you're doing that how harmful it is. Because every little movement you're making is so tiny. It's no big deal. It's not like you're lifting a 500-pound weight. Right? You're lifting a couple of ounces, but you sit there. Watch my body. You sit there hour after hour after hour, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, doing the same motions over and over and over and over. And what happens is you're creating a cramp in your body, so to speak. And it took her a couple of years to work that out, working on the bars. So this business about paying attention to the sequence of what you're doing, right? Yes, The barrel of the bat, this is just like the hammer. This is just like the hammer. I got to hit that ball. I got to hit that ball. So you pay attention to the place where the ball's going to hit the bat. And that's the wrong thing to do. The thing you want to pay attention to is the glide path. Boom. When we get to the retreat and we start doing a little push hands, one of the major things I want to focus on is breaking the fixation on the place where your opponent is touching you. So let's say the opponent, like Annie earlier, has their hands on them. Of course, you're going to notice that they've got their hands on you, right? Here or here or here or here, wherever they're touching you. And so you go to that place. And then you struggle with that place. If you do that, you're always going to lose. Because you immediately lose your balance and you will lose your sequencing. So part of push hands training is to do simple little drills over and 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 over, month after month after month after month after month. It's what it takes to get out of that mindset of paying so much attention to where your opponent, or in this case, your partner, your training partner, is touching you. Of course, you're going to be aware of it, but don't fixate on it. What should you be, Catherine, what should you be fixing on? If the guy grabs me or pushes me, don't pay attention to this. What should you pay attention to?
I should try to feel where his weak energy comes from.
And how are you going to do that? I'm not saying that's right. I'm just asking you how you're going to do it. How do you?
I have to feel where his energy comes from. I mean, if someone put his hands on me, obviously it's not only his hands, it's something else from his body.
Yes.
And I have to try to develop the sense of feeling where it comes from.
Yes, okay, so that is true. But something else needs to happen first before you can feel what the other guy is doing. What is it? You know, what you said is true. It's called listening. It's called TAIJI. You're listening, so to speak. It's a metaphor, to the other guy. You're listening to his energy patterns, to his movement patterns. What you're listening to is his chi path. Is his chi path good? Is it solid? Is it relaxed? Is it grounded? Is it centered? And is it following that sequence? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or not? How do you develop TAIJI? What do you have to have first before you can feel somebody else's energy?
Well, obviously you have to know something about your own body and how
exactly. You have to
be
feel
so
your
aware of your own body.
To feel your own energy first. You cannot hear somebody else's energy except by listening with your own energy. Now, when you're pushing with someone, right? Maybe you're just doing some drills, you're pushing, and then maybe you go into a little free pushing, or even if you're just doing the drills. Let's say you go into some free pushing, so he puts his hand on you, and you focus on that. You're not focusing on your own energy, you're focusing on this guy. You're not even focusing on his energy, you're focusing on the physical contact between the two of you. All right? So you can't really read his energy because you've lost focus on your own energy. So you have to train yourself not to do that. And that sounds so simple. And guys,
it's not.
oh, Catherine, I wish you were going to be there because I do this exercise with you. I'll tell you all this stuff. I'll show you exactly what I'm going to do, and then you won't be able to do it.
I'm not surprised.
And we'll do it 12 times in a row, and you still won't be able to do it. maybe on the 12th time or the 14th time, you'll get it just a little bit. And the next time you'll lose it again. But this is why it takes months to learn to do it. Nobody learns it immediately, or very few people, right? It literally takes months because it's retraining the body to, first of all, to pay attention to things that you don't pay attention to. And the number one thing is your own energy body, all right? And this comes right into the form, all right? So we're doing the form. One of the purposes of doing the form is to begin to train yourself for this kind of stuff, even though you don't have a partner. Hold on a second, I gotta close the door. Most of the time when you're training yourself, you don't have a partner to work with. So one of the advantages of doing the form is it allows you to kind of use an imaginary partner. So in China, Tai Chi is called shadow boxing. And they mean shadow boxing. The real name of Tai Chi in China is TAIJI Chuan. TAIJI Chuan. Chuan means fist. It's a form of boxing. All right? So the form is about shadow boxing. There are imaginary opponents all around, and you're dealing with them. So when you are dealing with an issue like JJ Guanchuan, right? Instead of doing this and then trying to walk through, that's practicing something called a Mao Bing. A Mao Bing, bad habit. It's a bad habit. Right? We would be out practicing, and suddenly we'd hear Master Zhang's voice. Oh, Mao Bing, Mao Bing. You have Mao Bing. Niola Mao Bing. So when you're doing the form, you're practicing. Right? What are the two major things that tiny little movement allows you to practice? Watch. I'll just do it with one hand. Well, one is exactly what we're talking about. JJ Guanchuan. Link by link. Watch my body. Watch this. It's also practicing lowering your chi. Let's do this the wrong way. All right? With the elbow up. And feel inside your body where your chi is. All right? Watch the white square. I'm going to do it wrong. Now, watch the white square when I do it right. Watch the red lines. Now I'm going to do it wrong. Watch the red lines. It's very difficult to sink when you've raised your elbows. Look what happens. Versus lowering your elbows. Watch the red lines. So one of the big training secrets for Tai Chi is to lower your chi. And the way to lower your chi is to pay attention to your chi path. All right, let's do the first couple of movements in the form, right? Let's do, Catherine, what did we get up to last time, or James, either one of you? What was the last move we did?
1, 2, 3, 4.
So we did move 4 too. All right,
I'm not sure that James was here when we did 4. I don't remember.
Okay, let's do the first 4 moves. Okay, let me ask you a question. Watch me do a little part of the movement here. There, my elbow was up in the air. Watch. Doesn't that break the rules?
No, because this is the intention you want to.
Yes, that's exactly right. Instead of my intention, instead of to use my hand or my fingers, is to use my elbow. So it's, you have to be aware of what it is you're doing. Could be the shoulder. Could be your fist. But in this case, it's your elbow. Okay. Catherine, let me see you do those first 4 moves.
Okay, but I watch myself and I'm not happy about what I do. Just want to tell you. before doing it.
Okay. So, Catherine, I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly how you feel. You will continue to feel this way for several years.
Thank you, Malcolm.
Just, you might as well just get used to it. Of course, because you recognize that you are not where you want to be. So
It's not exactly that. I have in my head, I know what I want to say, and I'm not saying it.
that's always the problem with doing creative work, isn't it? Particularly at the beginning. And there's no way around it. You have to go through it. You can't do an end run around it. You have to just go right through it. And you're an artist, you're a bookmaker, etc. So you already know all that, and it will really help with this process. But it can get a little frustrating. Um, let me show you one thing, and then I'm going to ask you to do it again, and then we'll go to James. Watch this move. I'm going to try to do it in slow motion. It's just one big circle. Okay, do it again. From the beginning.
Oh.
From the very beginning. Before you go ahead, one of my favorite book designs of all time was a paperback book, and the title was 3 words. The first word and the third word were in big yellow type, and the middle word was in giant red type. And the title of the book is You Must Relax. it was the least relaxing title design I can imagine. All right, but relax, shake it out, shake it out. All right, okay, go. Okay, good. So that looked much better. Um,
So there is a lot of room for improvement.
oh yes, of course. You're going to be improving for years, hopefully forever. What I was thinking about is when you first learn anything, but this is really true in Tai Chi, you tend to be a little. Everyone tends to be a little stiff because it's just part of the learning process. All right, learning to play the piano, you're not going to be as fluid as a concert pianist. You're going to be kind of stiff. All right, and only slowly over time do you develop that real simpatico with the keyboard, right? So kind of the same thing with this. But when you did that movement, it was much more relaxed. Once you get the relaxation inside the form, once you can do a movement in a very relaxed manner like this, just very relaxed, then you can do it with panache if you want to. So the Fajin, the explosive energy, happens on top of relaxation. So you get the relaxation first. Just relax. Now that you can do it relaxed, now you can do it with some oomph. Boom, if you want to. But don't try it the other way around. Don't do the oomph first. Do the relaxation first. Okay, James, let me see you do it. Okay, good. All right, so one of the things, James, that you might, it was nice and relaxed. I like that. One of the things you might focus on as you go forward here is the yin and yang cycles built within each movement. Now, some of them are really obvious, so you can pay attention to the obvious ones at first, because they kind of control the timing of everything. So, Master Zhang used to say, Tai Chi is not like a lake. You know, there's a couple of lakes in Golden Gate Park, so he would mention those lakes because those lakes are just absolutely flat. They're really ponds rather than lakes, you know. But I forget what they're called, but the lakes are there, right? He said it's like the ocean. It's not a lake; it's the ocean, and the ocean has a rhythm. The lake doesn't have any rhythm; it's just flat, stagnant water. But the ocean has a rhythm, and that was his way of saying the rhythm is determined by this. Every movement is composed of yin and yang cycles. So when you do a movement like this, yin, yang, yin, yang, yin, yang, yin, yang, right? Yin, the yin part of the cycle is always a little slower because you're gathering stuff in. The yang is where you're putting the hammer down, so it's a little faster. So if we really emphasize that a little bit here, yin, yang, yin, yang, yin, yang, yin, yang, right? Now, if I do it like the heirloom forms, it would look like this. Yin, yang, yin, yang, yin, yang, yin, yang, right? So we don't do this form exactly like that. But you still should know there's always that difference between yin and yang. And that becomes like an internal metronome, right? It's just going tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock. Yin, yang, yin, yang, yin, yang, yin, yang, and so forth, right? So you pay a little attention to that and you realize it's just like your breathing. It's just like your internal breathing. When you breathe in, that's yin. It's usually a longer in-breath and a shorter out-breath, right? Most people breathe in slowly and then they breathe out more quickly. Breathe in slowly, breathe out more quickly. That's exactly the same as the form itself. So just pay some attention to that, and it helps to structure your form by just your whole internal system. Okay, guys, good enough, right? Tomorrow we will go on to move number 5, all right? So we'll see you tomorrow.